to everyone in our communities if they have any questions and can follow along and learn from our collective questions. So thank you for coming this evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Courtney Prier. I'm the Director of Experiential Education, and I have been working on the Duke of Ed program with students since I think 2009. The program has evolved tremendously over the last decade. So we're really happy to be a participating school in the program. I will try to answer as many questions as I can tonight. We also are very lucky to be joined by Michelle Siegel. This is Michelle's second week at Selwyn House, and she's working in the experiential ed department with a focus on community engagement. So Miss Siegel will be our lead support in Duke of Ed as we move forward into this year. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome to the Selwyn family.
Thank you.
We're also very fortunate to be joined by Vicky Buteau. Vicky works at the Duke of Ed office. She was the Quebec regional manager, and now with some restructuring, she is at the national office. Vicky, remind us of your title.
I'm the Francophone and Inclusion Director for whole of Canada now.
Yes, so questions are welcome in French, in English, and Vicky and I have been working together since 2009, I think, or however long it's been. So she's an expert. She's like the Duke of Ed expert. So there you have it. What we'll do is I will share my screen in a minute and run through a presentation. Some of the information you may have heard before, and some of it may be new. So we tried to tailor it to the program and to Selwyn specific things. And then at the end, I'll do a little demo of a student's online record book. And after that, we'll take questions. So if you wouldn't mind just writing down your questions as we go through, that way you can save them till the end, because I probably will answer a lot of them as I go through, if that's all right. So I am going to share my screen and find, here we go, move this around, present. Okay. All right, so what is the Duke of Ed program? So it's an international award, and it operates in over 130 different countries. And basically the award is really about trying new things that we don't always get to do in the classroom. So it really encourages young people to take on new challenges in 4 different areas. And for those of you who don't know, does anyone want to unmic or unmute and tell us who the Duke of Edinburgh was? Does anyone know? Boys, come on. Have we got someone who wants to say? Don't be shy. Okay, Vicky, do you want to talk about who the Duke of Edinburgh was and his legacy?
Yes, definitely. Thanks. So the Duke of Edinburgh was Prince Philip, who was the husband of the Queen in England. And basically, Prince Philip is the one with Lord Cordon, and I have a blank right now. Another person who founded the award back in 1956. And basically the award is between one of the charities that he has across the world, one of his biggest legacy, that it will still be thriving, even though that he has passed away this spring. Over the years, they prepared for his passing, where his son, Prince Edward took on the leadership of the award. So we're in good hands. Like, it's it's been a pleasure to be working with them. So this is who Prince Philip is. He's actually our funders for the award back in 1956.
Thank you.
And if I may add, Courtney, just a really quick tips. If some of you have watched the Crown, when they're talking about the Gardenstone School in the Crown, this is actually the premises that started the thinking about the award and to bring it across the world. So it's a really good place to start to know where we came from.
Thank you. Some of the kids have actually asked me that in meetings, so it's a good reference. Thank you, Vicki. So what are the, oops, sorry about that. Let me go back. What are the guiding principles? So some parents and kids ask, why are we doing this? What does this program teach us? So I think it's really about looking at these guiding principles and looking at how to set personally challenging goals for improvement and how to reach those goals. And what you put into this experience is what you take away from it. So if you work really hard and you take advantage of the support that you have at the school, I can tell you that there is a real sense of accomplishment as you progress through the award, whether you're doing bronze, silver, or gold. It really does allow you to grow in 4 different areas and challenge yourself. So what is the award? There are 3 levels of the award, as most of you know. They're progressive. So as you move towards gold, you should really try to be taking on more challenges and more independence with the award journey. And it is open to individuals between the ages of 14 and 24. And so we'll talk about this a little later, but parents always ask me, what is the deadline? When is the deadline? I can provide you with some guidelines later on, but I guess the real deadline is 24 years old. However, we are going to ideally at least achieve bronze, if not silver, while you're at Selwyn House. Here are the various sections of the award. So there are 4 main components that you can see on the screen. And it's really about looking at each of those and making them your own. So we are not going to force you to do service in a certain area. We are going to talk to you as students about what you love, how you want to give back, all the activities that interest you, basically. So you're really looking at finding a balanced set of activities. You set goals in each one, you set a time frame, and you move forward. For those of you who are wondering about the gold project, I will talk about it later, but I think most of the people in the room tonight are really looking at bronze and how we get started there. So here are the components that we talk about at the bronze level. And just to be clear, there are students in grade 9 and 10 and 11 who are working on the bronze level. So if you started at Selwyn in grade 10 or in grade 9, it doesn't matter. We still encourage you to achieve your bronze. If you're in grade 11 and you didn't really track in grade 9 and 10, it's never too late. So now's a good time to get started. So this is the basic idea of number 1, 2, and 3. You have to choose one that you do for 26 weeks, and we call that your major. And then I'll talk about some of those other what each component is in a minute, but this is a good overview slide. A couple things. So I did just talk about the major. One of the big questions that we get is about the number of hours, and Vicki can probably talk to some of that if you have questions, or Patricia, who's joining us, I think, as well. So for the purposes of the Duke of Ed Award, it's really about a commitment to these areas over time. So that's why we count a maximum of 4 hours a month. So for example, in your physical recreation, where our Selwyn House athletic program counts, we know that you're doing almost 4 hours a week, and good for you. And that's lovely to be active. But in your online record book, when it tallies up all those hours, it really will only count 4 hours within that month, approximately 1 hour per week. So it's not necessarily hard prescriptive in 1 hour a week, but over the course of the time, that's what it's looking at counting when you get to this sort of end of your of the time component. So we can talk more about that later if you have a specific situation. The other thing you need to know is it doesn't have to be consecutive. So we have a lot of students who work on their skill in, you know, September and October and maybe November, and they take a break in December because they're focusing on exams. That's absolutely fine. You can do 1 hour in 1 month, and then you can do 4 hours 2 months later. It's fine for the program. Ideally, it just makes sense that you're taking breaks for reasons that you need to, like exams, or you're traveling at March break or something like that. Goal setting. So something that's really important and that I think many of our boys are struggling with is about setting goals in each section. So it is really important that you don't just say like, oh, my skill is piano. I play piano every week. Well, that's lovely, and I'm sure the goal is to improve. But what about piano are you going to work on for the purposes of this award? And this is really good life training, goal training. So really looking at, maybe you want to learn a specific piece. Maybe we're having a concert at the end of the year and you want to play 3 pieces. Maybe you want to be good enough to play at our weekly assemblies, and how will you do that? So when you set your goal in each section, it does have to have, I'm going to say, 2 sentences, 3 sentences in order for it to be a SMART goal. The other thing that's really important is that you do think about it, because it can be rejected from head office. So if you just say like play piano, often I'll submit and then we'll get an email back saying the student doesn't have any goals. He just did a bunch of stuff. What are his goals? Does he feel like he accomplished them? So it is a really important step in the program. And this is something that we have to approve. Ms. Siegel and we have to approve every activity that you do, and we see the goals ahead of time. So we do go back to you and say, you need to revise your goal, come and sit with me, those kinds of things. So it's better if you're proactive and think about what that might be from the beginning. So let's get into voluntary service here. So we have some ideas. So service can be, it's really about giving back to your community. Find something that you care about, engage with those in your community. It gives you the chance to connect with people. I know that's not the easiest in COVID, but we do offer community service options that we post in the mailbag. We often have parents who call and give us some. And service at Selwyn House does count for this section. So if you're doing peer tutoring, in the new year, we'll be doing Big Brother, which is a program that we do with elementary school students. If you are meeting every day or every week rather at lunch because you're on the sustainability committee and you're helping with waste management initiatives at the school, all of these things count towards voluntary service. And I know that some of you play hockey 5 times a week. There really is something for everyone. So it's really important that, again, you're proactive, you meet with us and you figure out in order to give back to my Selwyn community or the community that I live in. Okay, the next component is physical recreation. And so our program at Selwyn is quite rigorous in terms of athletics. So we are very fortunate that our physical education, it does count. If you show up to phys ed and you're not ready and you're not prepared and you don't have a great attitude, your teacher will not be your assessor. So they will not sign. So it's really about being committed, being a good participant, And that's really what all you need to do for this section. You need to be a good student and try your best in your physical education options. Again, your tournaments count as well, but remember that a maximum of 4 hours a month counts for the purposes of the calculation. Ms. Siegel and I encourage you as students, when you're logging, to log all of the things that you do. It's a wonderful place to log all those items. When you start to apply for post-secondary, it's like, people come running in my office. I don't remember anything that I did. Well, this is a great place to have everything logged for you, and you will always have access to your online record book. Skills. This is probably, I would say, the most challenging for our students because it does take you some time to think about what it is that you need to do. So a skill is one thing that you develop over time. So it's really about thinking about what you like. So it could be a musical instrument. It could also be almost all of our ECAs that happen after school. So our drama productions, our yearbook is all extra, photography, the wood shop that's an ECA, debating. I don't even, what am I missing? There are so many of them. All of you are involved in so many things. Those are all a skill. And it's really important that you set a goal and you show improvement in that one skill over 13 weeks. So those are some ideas there. I know some of you have your own ideas, and it's great to check in with us before you commit to 13 hours, just to make sure that they qualify for the skill. So that's important to check with us. And typically, oh yeah, I was going to say the last thing, skills that you learn at Selwyn House during class, you can use them for this if you develop them outside of class. So good example is sketching and drawing. So you may have taken art class with Miss Foreign and you've fallen in love with some skill that you learned. It could be watercolor, I don't know, and you decide you wanted to develop that skill. So Miss Foreign is happy to meet with you outside of class time to say, okay, here are some things you can do to get better at watercolor. We'll set you up with sort of 13 different lessons, and then you practice, you paint, you take photos of those, and you upload them in your online record book. So it is possible to incorporate. When we used to offer Spanish, some of the students developed their Spanish skills on their own time, but worked with Mr. Deegan or whoever was our language teacher. So it's a possibility. The adventurous journey is achievable through our outdoor ed program. So for those of you who are in grade 9, you will be going on a winter camping excursion. And all of the things that we do to prepare you and while on the excursion count for the adventurous journey section. So it really is something that, again, we do for you. There is a report that you have to do. Some of you have done it by video. So it's really quite simple if you follow the steps that we lay out. I think that's it for that component. Yeah. In terms of the adventurous journey, so what does that look like? So for grade 9, those are the dates of the trips. They are on the school calendar. And we always have a parent information evening in December to talk about what winter camping looks like and all of the health and safety that we take into consideration and what the experience will be like for the students. If you are completing your silver, we do the river rescue trip that already happened in September. And that's a fantastic trip. We try to sort of scaffold the learning over grade 9, 10, and 11. So we're not giving you winter camping. So we are aware that some students couldn't go on that trip, and we will try to put together a trip in the spring for the grade 10s who are working towards silver. But For example, Mr. Pickrell, Mr. Deegan, they are literally like off campus every single day in October because they run outdoor ed for the whole school. So it's a scheduling issue right now. For gold, if you're in grade 11 and working on gold, and sometimes we have grade 10s as well, there's a trip. Those are the dates blocked off on the calendar, but the trip must be organized by the students. So as part of our outdoor ed program, this is where you've taken all your outdoor ed learning over your years at Selwyn and you plan the trip. So Mr. Deegan and Mr. Pickrell as outdoor educators are there to support you, but you get to decide location, you get to decide transportation, food, activities, and they're there as sort of expert guides on the side. Some of you do camping experiences during the summer or with other organizations, and that's okay. Those can count for your adventurous journey, provided that they're done in a group. There are certain criteria set by the Duke of Ed Award. So like camping with your mom and dad on a weekend, that's not the experience that will count in this award. It has to be camping with your peers, and there's a checklist, so I can provide that to you. It's always best to get that list from us ahead of time, so you ensure that everything is good before you do that experience. Some of you are like, I did a 8-day solo canoe trip in the woods with my, my peers were all around. Those usually count. So if you don't use the Selwyn House experience, be sure to check in with us first. That's what I would say about that. Assessor. So what is an assessor? An assessor is someone that really supports you through the process. So when you say to me that your mom is your assessor for guitar lessons, I will say no, she is not. Unless you're, there are some exceptions. Parents cannot be your assessor, but they also have to be experts in the in what they're assessing you on. So I know sometimes it can be a challenge, but it really needs to be thought out who is supporting you, who is guiding your learning. Yeah, and so if you're not sure who can be your assessor, you can ask us. We often have the answer you're looking for. And an assessor is really just there to make sure that we can confirm that what you said you did, you actually did. The Gold Project, so there's an additional section of the Duke of Ed Award when you enroll in the gold level, and that section is basically an experience. And the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because it's something that is done when you are 16. You have to be 16 years old to begin the Gold Award, right, Vicki? I've got that right.
Yes, you got that right, Courtney. But even though if they're at the silver or the bronze level, but they're 16 and they're taking that kind of journey, they can count it for their gold level.
Perfect. So as long as you're 16, and why I bring this up is because this is like when we start advertising, hopefully COVID will be gone next year, but when we take kids on leadership camps, or I advertise, there used to be an organization, Encounters with Canada, Forum for Young Canadians. When Mr. Bracewell brings students on debating tournaments and you're with people from all over the world, all of these things count toward your gold project. So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind if you are pursuing the gold level. And we can give you all kinds of ideas there. There are all kinds of summer experiences that qualify for this. Okay, so planning ahead. So here, these are just some important things to remember. You can't be getting paid for anything that counts for Duke of Ed. You can't tell your mom or dad that you're cleaning your room, and that's community service. Nice try. So it's just really important to remember, and that anything that counts for school credit does not count in the Duke of Ed program. We do have an exception for our phys ed program because it is advanced. So we are quite fortunate there that our phys ed program does count for the award. Next, what are the outcomes? So I like to talk and look at some of the outcomes. I do really think that you grow as students through earning the Duke of Ed award. I think it really teaches you how to take ownership, how to take initiative, how to be accountable. I often say to students, just put a reminder on your phone to log into your online record book once a week, record the things you did for 10 minutes. And if you're struggling with finding something in an area, that's when you know you need to reach out to Miss Siegel or to me to figure out, oh boy, it's been 8 weeks. I have not done a single thing in my skill section. I really need to, I need some help and I need some guidance. So how do I register? So if you haven't yet registered for the program, we created these fun how-to videos on our website. So if you go to selwyn.ca and then you go to experiential education under school life, you will see a whole Duke of Edinburgh page. I share it weekly in the weekly mailbag, the direct link. We actually have a video that walks you through exactly how to register yourself. Once you're done, Ms. Siegel gets a notification and then she will approve your registration and make sure that everything is okay. If you are registered for the program and you forget how to log in, you can just put your Selwyn House email there and then you can click forgot your password and it will email you a new password to get in, and then you can see where you're at. All right. No, I'm not going to watch the video. Oh, sorry. I am not going to play you that entire video because you can do that on your own. Okay, so what does it look like to log your hours? So just give me a moment here. I'm actually going to go into Matthew Anderson's profile. So can you see that, Michelle? Yeah. Okay, so this is what it looks like in a student profile for parents who haven't seen it yet. So this is Matthew is in grade 11 and he's working towards a silver level. It says up here, and I'm just going to show you quickly how to add an activity. So Matthew doesn't yet have a skill for his silver level. So we're going to assign Matthew a skill and then unassign it. So we'll pretend that Matthew is going to work on Spanish, his Spanish lessons. So his goal might be to learn introductory Spanish to be able to converse with my aunt when I go to Spain next summer, something like that. I'm going to put Mr. Deegan, sorry, because Mr. Deegan used to teach Spanish and he will hopefully help support me. And hopefully I've already asked Mr. Deegan before I stick his name in here as my assessor. And then I'll click setup. And what happens now is we've added this activity and it has a little clock over here beside it. And Miss Siegel is going to go into the back end of Duke of Ed and she'll get a notification that says, Matthew added a skill. Does it look, does everything look good? Can we get that approved? So I think if I refresh.
Yeah, it was just approved, so you should be good to go.
There we go. So now when I click on Spanish, there it is. And where I go down, see at the bottom here, there's an add a log. And we walk the kids through this in all of our meetings, but down at the bottom, you can add a log. So today I'm going to say, I learned you know, words. I learned food words in Spanish and how to order at a restaurant. I'm making this up, obviously. So that's today. And I did 1 hour. And I might upload a photo if it was appropriate, like if my skill was art, or for those of you who do cooking, I often see your progression from like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to lasagna. So I'll add the log. I don't have to put a photo. It's nice if it's appropriate. And there you see my first log, and then you continue like that through the program. And so I can click here. I'm just showing you a profile of what it looks like. So here's what Matthew did in all of his weight training workouts, for example. So I just wanted to give you kind of a quick tour of what that looks like. Okay, let me go back to my presentation here. Support. So here's what support for the program looks like. Miss Siegel will be in the Macaulay mezzanine at those times. Probably most of you know, boys who are in the room, you know where my office is. It's right next to Miss Wong's in the middle of the Macaulay mezzanine with all glass walls. So it's not that hard to find me. Miss Siegel will be around there. We have desks, you know, there's lots of working spaces. So that's where she is. Drop by anytime. You can open up your laptop, you can ask questions, or you can always email Miss Siegel. I know that many of you are not great with emails, but if you are, feel free to do that as well. Our webpage has several, I believe there's 4 how-to videos, how to log, all of those things are there. So often you're asking questions that can already be answered through the resources that are available. And then we do share those resource links at the bottom on our website. They're also posted weekly in the mailbag. And as we go through the year, we will be updating our volunteer opportunities webpage. So that does exist on our website as well. We usually link it in the, sorry, my daughter's here showing me something. I'm in a meeting. Okay, yeah, sorry. The volunteer hours, volunteer opportunities will be listed there. I know it has been a challenge in COVID to get into organizations, but those, the opportunities are slowly coming back, and we do have a lot of, you know, outreach that's been happening. So you'll see more things posted there. To parents who are in the meeting, some of our opportunities come from you. So if you hear of something, and you want to let us know, please do. We're always happy to have new information. I will say it is a struggle for our boys to commit to consistent service opportunities in the community. For example, we do get a lot of calls from organizations that say they would like them there every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30 p.m. or every Wednesday during math tutorials, or so that is tough for us to commit to those opportunities. But there are often other ones, weekends, events, different things. So please let us know. Here are just some important dates. So often people ask, when are award ceremonies? How does this work? So at Selwyn House, we have 3 award ceremonies a year. The first one is our academic awards assembly that happens in September. And in order to, it does take some processing time to you know, get all of the awards and the certificates and the pins. So that's usually due early September. The next deadline is December because we have an award ceremony in January. And then May 6th for our end of year. We have big end of year arts assembly, and we give the Duke of Ed awards then. Silver is a little bit different. For silver awards, there's always a provincial ceremony. Usually hosted by LCC. They are willing to host it for everyone has to be double vaxxed. We're just waiting on a date from them. So although I do honor the silver awards at a Selwyn assembly, the lieutenant governor comes, it's very official and very formal, and that happens at LCC. And for the gold award, it's typically in Ottawa, and the governor general gives the award. And those happen, I couldn't tell, once every 18 months before COVID, roughly. I have no idea at this point in time. So what about everyone who asks me, when is this due, and do I have to do this? So given the program and everything I've outlined, there is absolutely no reason why all grade 9 students cannot complete this in grade 9. We provide you all of the support and the opportunities that you need to achieve bronze in grade 9. Does it require some initiative from you as students? Absolutely, but it's very possible. Grade 10, it is grade 10. So for silver level, it's 26 hours over 26 weeks for all of the 3 levels. And then the adventurous journey is a 4-day, 3-night trip. So I would say in grade 10, it is possible. It does take some organization and initiative. Gold is a little bit harder because it depends when your birthday falls. You need to be 16. There are a variety of activities. It's a bit tough depending on what your schedule is, but you can be working towards it. And I work with kids who are in CJEP and university who are still working on their gold. So we are definitely happy to support you through that process. To those of you wondering, will my son graduate without, if he doesn't complete Duke of Ed? The answer is no. The Duke of Ed program is something that Selwyn House encourages. It's something that we support, but I cannot hold back your high school graduation diploma without a Duke of Ed award. So I do have to say that. However, if you are looking to be engaged in the Selwyn community, whether that's through leadership positions or through earning the Veritas diploma, which is a very prestigious diploma that students work towards through their 3 years in senior school, you will need the Duke of Ed silver level. If you're in grade 11 this year, it's bronze because there were COVID restrictions. I know that's a ton of information. Before I end, I will say that we are all, and I've been doing this for years, at parent-teacher interviews, you can make an appointment. You can make an appointment to meet. Miss Siegel and I will share a Zoom room, and that's when we have lots of parents. That's when you can ask us specific questions like, let's log into my son's online record book, help me, let's get back on track, or let's figure this out. So we are very happy to have you book appointments with us at parent-teacher interview time. The next dates are November 18th and 19th. That being said, we also meet with parents on Zoom during the day and students, by appointment or at any of those drop-in hours.